You might heard of the word monk mode before. And monk mode is a term that means to basically cut off all stimulation from your life for a while so you could focus on developing yourself and upgrading yourself into the best version of you. And monk mode can be the hardest phase a man can go through, and yet the most fulfilling path into happiness, wisdom, and even strength. So as it shows in the title, today I'm going to explain and I'm going to show you the importance of why you should ghost everybody for a while and focus on yourself. And I'm going to show you the importance of monk mode. So there was a story I've heard about how criminals, when they get arrested and stopped and actually go to prison, there's either two choices they can take. One is actually they continue their criminal career in prison and they start doing drugs in prison, and they just keep getting on more dangerous in prison and they continue their criminal career. And two, there's the guy who doesn't have anything to do in prison. Therefore, instead of him looking at the ceiling all day in his prison cell, what he does is he actually gets into the habit of reading and exercising, and he gets rid of his past criminal self and he starts a new blank page and starts developing himself by doing whatever he has access to in prison, to the point where when he gets out of prison, he becomes a completely different man. Why do you think the second guy decided to change himself completely and decides to start getting his life together? Is it because he loves exercising and he loves reading? Is it because he has a hobby of reading? No, of course not. It's because when there is no distractions from your life, and when you eliminate all kinds of pleasurable stimulation from your life, and when you have nothing to do all day except look at your wall and your ceiling all day in your prison cell, the only choice you have is to actually get your life together. And when you're not allowed to do anything for fun, like watching porn, improving yourself becomes the only option which you can take, because now there's nothing left to enjoy and there's no fun and no wasting time. So your focus drastically improves and you turn into a full focus man. And the only thing you pay attention to is achieving what matters. And this happens in a lot of scenarios, like for example in the COVID lockdown, people didn't have a lot of distractions. They weren't allowed to go to party, they didn't allowed to meet up with friends, they weren't allowed to do anything except from just staying at home all day. So what happened was a lot of people actually got their life together and started investing in the good habits, because there was no distractions. So what I'm trying to say is you should just disappear for a while and disappear from everyone and everything that makes you less focused. And that means cutting all kinds of stimulation from your life, like watching some useless show on TV, watching Netflix, playing video games, or partying, or drinking, or even cutting off that toxic friend group that isn't helping you. Because in order to grow, you need full focus on yourself, in order to outwork a lot of people. And that means like when your friends are out there partying and having fun, and they are wasting time on some useless party, and you're out there exercising and exhausting yourself in the gym, getting 1% better every day, while they are getting 1% worse every day. You might think like, oh, they are having fun, they are living life better than me, but no, you are sacrificing the present for the future, and they are giving up the future for the present. And eventually, if you keep on getting 1% better every while, and they are getting worse with time, eventually you'll become completely a different person, and you're not gonna even want to hang out with that group anymore, because they don't fit your standards anymore. So what you need to do is to disappear for a while and embrace that lonely phase. So it is within that phase that you are outworking everyone, and growth is within that lonely phase. And you might think that this sounds boring as fuck, but no, and you might think it's impossible to enjoy it, but when you trick your brain to love doing hard things, you will fall in love with the journey, and you'll find peace with loneliness. And when you see yourself getting better while everyone else in your circle is getting worse, that will make you 100 times more confident. Nothing worth it is ever easy, and everything valuable requires a lot of work and effort and sacrifice. And that means sacrificing everything, sacrificing the stimulating things that you used to do, sacrificing everything to the point where it becomes mandatory to focus on what's important, like the guy in prison, because he didn't have anything to do, and the only thing he did was just look at the ceiling in his prison cell, and he was bored as fuck. He wasn't allowed to do anything for fun. The only choice he had was to get his life together and actually invest on what he had access to in prison. And during that phase, your friends and the people around you and the things you used to do, they might try to bring you down again, but you must resist the downward pull of the group. And when you want to pick your friends that you want to hang out with, look up into their lives, look up on what they do. If their lives is all put together, then you must know that these are the right people that you must hang out with. But if the friends you hang around with are just living like losers, then you should consider not hanging around with these guys. You must resist the downward pull of the group and ignore your friends if their life isn't put together, so you can keep on working. And with time, meet some new people with the same ambitions as you, and that can help you get one step closer to those ambitions. And yeah, and I see those videos on YouTube, like they do, like Andrew Curvy, he did like a video on dopamine detox that got a lot of views. If you do a dopamine detox for a day, or if you do monk mode for a day and cut off all stimulation for a day, that won't help you. What you need to do is you need to have consistency. Cut off distractions and limit stimulation for a year, not for a day or for like 6 hours. What you need to do is to change your lifestyle into monk mode for 6 months or even a year. And within that time, within that period of time, you'll see some progress. Because if you do monk mode, like if you go full focus for a day on monk mode and you just look at your wall for a day, and the next day you just go back to living your life normally and get back to doing all the stimulation that you're used to, then it won't help you and you won't see progress. What you need to do is you need to have consistency, and you need to embrace this lifestyle in order to change and in order to grow. And yeah, and remember, it's not an easy journey, and for the first while you won't enjoy it, but when you fall in love with doing hard things, and when you fall in love with seeing yourself getting better every day, then you will fall in love with working so hard and being productive. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I took enough of your time. Remember, brothers, always take action. Peace.